friends, wonderful friends, soon to be friends, I hope. Anybody here for the first time? Ah, really, a lot of first timers. Okay, let's start in the front row, in the first row. Yeah, what?
I'm Sutapa. I've been in Tucson for a while, but I'm also a resident, so I don't have any time, and this is the first time I've had time. So I brought my mom.
Wonderful, wonderful. How did you hear about it? You just word of mouth? Or?
We Googled temple.
Wonderful. Thank you for coming. I pray that this isn't your last visit.
Definitely not.
Please honor us. Thank you. Do we have any gifts for the first timers? What do we give them?
We have a packet with a magazine on chanting. And
yeah? We have a surprise packet for you. Dun, dun, dun. Who else? Who else is a first timer? Yes?
I'm Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Teresa.
Teresa, thank you for coming. You're first time.
I'm Diana, and I just lived here for about a year and a half. And we gave an applause to Magic Mike, but I want to give an applause to the drummer.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, isn't he great? Yeah, I should have said the band. How did you all hear about it? Are you three together?
Yes.
Oh, okay. This to blame for you being here? So if it flops, it's her fault, right? This is a tough weight on your shoulders, isn't it?
Yes, I know, so I hope that you're really good.
You got me there. Touche. Who else? Ma'am, you're
Tanya.
Tanya. How did you hear about it? Yeah.
So, yeah, I just moved from Virginia.
Yeah, really. Well, again, all of you, I hope it's not your last visit here. We're honored to have you, really is. But we have a surprise packet for all of you as well. Anybody else? Any more first time? Yes, ma'am. What is your name?
Priya?
Priya? Means beloved.
I know.
Yeah.
I went to Aaron's Gita class and I really liked it, and I got his email, and I'm interested in the topic.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming. Anybody else that I'm missing? Yes, sir.
My name is Chewbacca.
Shubaka?
Shabaka.
Shapaka.
Yeah. And I'm here because I'm the most serious person in the world.
Oh, that's very pious. Krishna says those who are curious are amongst the pious who approach.
But I'm an atheist.
Huh?
But I'm an atheist.
That's okay. You're a curious atheist, so that makes you pious.
Okay.
Let me say this. If you can walk through that door, you're quite pious, very fortunate. So, I personally don't believe in atheists. I think an atheist is someone who just hasn't seen enough to make a decision yet. You know? I mean, you know,
Look at it.
I might lean that way, but, you know, stack the evidence up a little higher for me. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. I applaud that, you know? So, we're going to talk about reincarnation and how to escape it. Has anybody given any thought to reincarnation? Anybody here? You know? All right. So, anybody, how many of you believe in reincarnation? Wow, that's about what I would expect. So, reincarnation, commonly referred to as transmigration of the soul. Soul transmigrates from body to body. And from at the time of death, the soul takes on another body. I'm going to read a couple of verses to kind of spin this topic a little bit. First of all, Krishna says in the second chapter, 13th verse, Dehinosmin yatadehe kamaram yogaram jara tatra dehantara praptir diras tatra namruyati. Krishna is saying, as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes to another body at death. Then he closes by saying, but a sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Dhiras tatra namuyati. Sober. Dhira means a sober, undisturbed person. In other words, this passing from body to body, or death, shouldn't disturb you. Okay? Because it's going to go on. It's been going on for us for as long as we've been in this material world. And it's going to continue as long as we stay here. So someone may wonder, well, wait a minute, I don't know if I like the sound of that. How do I get off this merry-go-round? I'm going around and around and around. First of all, this transmigration of the soul comes because of our desires. We have certain desires in this material world. Those are called material desires. So I have a material desire, if I have a desire, that's going to cause me to commit certain activities. I want this, so I do this to get it. There is a reaction to my actions. That's called karma, you see. So at the end of my life, whatever I'm fixed on, whatever is the object of my desire, you see, because your desires are not going to be fulfilled. This is bad news. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. But in this lifetime, all of your desires will not be fulfilled. All of your material desires. It's not possible. Material desires are insatiable. They cannot be fulfilled. Not all of them. And even when you get what you want on a material basis, you think, oh, this is great. But if I had just a little bit more, you have $1 million. If you have nothing, you get $1 million. You think this is wonderful. But another million would be kind of really nice. Maybe 5. Okay, 10. 10. If you can do 10, then maybe you can do 15 or 20. We see how many wealthy people are there in the world that are continuing to slave real hard to get more. I can think of the richest guy in the United States, Bill Gates. He works hard. He's not taking his time. He really works hard. These people want more. It's not enough. If it was enough, the richest guys in the world would disappear. They'd buy an island, staff it with servants and food, and set up a place to just get away. I've got billions. I've got more money than I can possibly spend in my lifetime. So I have enough. So bye-bye world. It's been fun. Thank you for getting me here. And I'm going to... They're still in there. As a matter of fact, from my experience in working with very, very successful, wealthy people, the better, the more well-off they get, the harder they work. That's a fact. I have never seen any people, and I've had the good fortune to know many, many people who are very, very fortunate, very wealthy. And I don't know any of them that take it easy. A couple that were born into money, and they've always been wealthy, but even they really aren't taking it easy like you think. So we never get enough. So how do we stop this cycle of birth and death? Krishna says, and we only have a few minutes left, so I'm going to leave out the Sanskrit, and I'm going to read the English. Krishna says in, this is the second chapter, 50th verse. Krishna says, a man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad actions even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. So, in other words, this thing that has me caught and keeps bringing me back, which is the results of my activities, which come from my material desires. I perform activities, and then I have karma. If I do good activities, I come back and accept good karma. If I have bad activities, I come back and accept bad karma. both of them cause me to come back. It doesn't, neither pious activities nor evil, mean activities allow me to escape this repeated birth and death. Because if I have good activities or good karma, I have to take birth to accept the good karma. Maybe I'm born very famous, very opulent, very attractive. You see, I have fame, I have profit, I have adoration, I have distinction. And in that life, I completely goof it up. Then I have to take a bad birth and back and forth, you see. So, good karma is not any better, really, than bad karma because it doesn't allow you to escape reincarnation. So, Krishna goes on. By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back to Godhead. Now, what's this mean? Going back to Godhead means getting out of here. It can be described as escaping. I heard one person say, in other words, you escape the gravity that holds you in this material world. We're being held here by a force like gravity holds this microphone on the floor, you see. We're stuck to this planet by gravity. The whole cosmos is stuck together by gravity, you see. Everything is working on everything else. But the liberated soul transcends by performing this devotional service. What does this mean? What is this devotional service? It means I stop the desires to please myself. It's a tough nut to crack, isn't it? Because we're made like that. We feel like that's what I've always done. You're asking me to stop what I've always done. And I say yes, because what you've always done is holding you here right now. If you continue doing the same activity, you're not going to get any different result. You'll get the same result. So you have to change your activity to get a different result. The different result that we're aspiring for is to escape reincarnation. I don't want to come back here. I don't want to take another body. I don't want to be born, go through childhood, enter old age, suffer disease, and die again. I just don't want to do this, you see. So to do that, Krishna says you can do by performing devotional service. So some people might ask, but if I perform this devotional service, that means I'm doing really good things. Krishna, good to see you. Doesn't that mean that I incur more good karma? You would think, wouldn't it? I'm serving. So why don't I have to come back and accept another body and go through the whole thing, birth, death, disease, old age? Because I'm performing activities in this devotional service. The answer is, with devotional service, there is no karma attached. It's called akarma, you see. In other words, I do my activities as an offering to Krishna. My dear Lord, I'm performing an activity. I don't want anything from it. You see, I want to serve you. Now, that doesn't mean that we quit our jobs, stop our careers, go into the Himalayas and find a cave and chant. No, that doesn't mean that at all. It means that tomorrow, once I have that change of heart, that tomorrow I'm going to go to my job, just like I always have. But I'm going to have a different consciousness. I'm going to see all of my activities, including my job, raising a family, whatever I do, taking care of my house, I'm going to see as an offering to the Supreme Lord. My dear Lord, I'm doing this for you. You see, changing your consciousness. My dear Lord, you're living in my house, so therefore I'll make it a nice place for you. I'll cut the grass nicely, you see, keep it painted nicely, because I want to do this for you. You see, I need some livelihood, and my dear Lord, you've been so kind as to give me some successful position, or a position that may become successful, or whatever. So I'm going to go. I need to keep body and soul together. I need income, so I'm going to go there, and I'm going to perform my activity as an offering to you. Whatever you give me in my compensation, I will accept it, and I will use it as much as I possibly can to take care of my home. Whatever I can, I'll use in your service. You know, a Christian, I think it's at 10%, they call it tithing. You know, there's no set percentage that I'm suggesting. Even, maybe you can only afford a dime a week. Somehow or other, I want to use a dime a week. I can only afford that. But we can certainly afford a dime a week. Or maybe $1. I don't know, whatever. Whatever you can do. You say, my Lord, this is what I can offer to you. So in other words, my job, my life, my activities are devotional service. This, not only does it accrue no karma, neither good nor bad, because you're not operating in the mode of goodness, you're operating in the mode of pure goodness. And this eradicates the accumulated karma that you have. It starts to be erased. It disappears. You see. Now, at the time of death, after living in a life of devotional service, doing your activities as an offering to God will kind of make you think about Him pretty often, you see. So therefore, it will change your consciousness. At the time of death, your desires will be to please the Lord. That means you get that desire, which means you escape the gravity that's holding you here, and you return home, back to Godhead. Back to Godhead means to that place from whence we came. We came from there. You see? We were not created. These bodies were created, but we are eternal souls. We have always existed, and will always continue to exist. Nothing can change your existence. You see, the devotee of Krishna starts to feel very confident once we start to understand the philosophy. I'm an eternal living entity. I always have existed. I always will exist. Now, let me work on where and how I will exist. You know, Earth is a good place. On Earth, America is a very good place. In America, Tucson's a very good place. So I'm in a good place, but I want better, you see. Because I want to go to a situation where I don't have to accept birth, death, disease, old age. And then birth, death, disease, old age again and again and again. I want to escape reincarnation. So Krishna says, that's intelligence. You can stay caught in this material merry-go-round that we find ourselves in, or you can perform devotional service to me. And at the time of death, you'll return to me. Now, it sounds a little too easy. You know? But Krishna's God, and He can make it as easy as He wants. So I'm going to pause for a minute, see if there are any questions or comments before we go on. Because I like to have some interchange. Does anybody have any comment or question? Yes?
You said something about going back to Godhead. So does that mean you were there, like how or why did it end up in this material world?
Excellent question. Yeah, we were there. We're an eternal living entity. We've existed for eternity. Where were we? And what were we doing? So, excuse me. We were, excuse me, in the spiritual world. We are from the kingdom of God. People call it heaven. They call it all kinds of things. But let's call it the kingdom of God. You know, God's home. We were there, and our activities for eternity have been his servant. We've been serving him with love and devotion. And it's a reciprocal relationship. It's one of love, pure spiritual love, unadulterated, pure love. That means that for you to have a pure loving relationship, you have to have the ability to choose to leave. Otherwise, you're a prisoner. You see. So Krishna, now some people may think immediately, well, that would be crazy. You're situated in a situation where you're directly serving and having a loving relationship, a loving exchange with the Supreme Lord. Well, you'd be crazy to leave. That doesn't make sense. But Krishna has wired us in such a way that we can make bad decisions. Because it has to be that way, because there's no other choice but him. God is the source of everything. He's the source of all sources. Everything emanates from him. So, whatever you could possibly want is within him. And if you already have him as your close associate, you have everything. There's nothing you could want outside of that, really. So, but he wants you to be able to leave if you want to. So he allows us this free will. In other words, my Lord, I want to see if there's anything as good, if not better, than you. You see, we're allowed that. So we can leave if we want and come to the material world. There's another element that's involved here, though, that we should discuss. It's not just that the living entity is curious as to what else there is other than God. That's kind of sugarcoating. We actually become a little envious, you see. Why do you get all the attention? I mean, you're God, and we've always been together, but I'm starting to wonder why everybody's focused on you, you know, and I'm thinking that I can do what you do. You know, just give me a chance, I could do that, you see. I'm pretty doggone special. So the flaw that the living entity has is that we can become envious. I want to be as good as you. Perhaps better, you see. I want to be the center of attention. Here we are in your home, and you're the center. It's always Krishna this, Krishna that, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. All right, with the Krishna already. What about me? You see? So the living entity leaves to come to the material world to try to excel above those around and become the center of attention. And also, the unfortunate thing is we have to compete with all the others here that want to be God as well. Don't let me forget to get back to you. Now this desire to be God leads us away from him. Once we get here, we may hear a philosophy that makes you think that you're God and that you can merge with God and become God. And because you're already broken spiritually, this may sound very attractive. You think, really? You mean I can go do this merge? And you know, it's just like if you take a drop of the ocean water and you drop it back into the ocean. Can you identify it? No, it's ocean. So if you're telling me there's a philosophy that I can go and enter into God, then I become God, which means I'm really God. Ooh, that's what I wanted when I left. You see? So it's a distraction. There are philosophies that will tell you that you can become God, that you can merge with God. You see? And the fact is you cannot merge with God. The fact is, there is God and there's the living entities. We are the same quality, but yet different. See, the uneducated mind does not know the laws of the spiritual world, and they think that all the laws of the material world apply in every situation. Like in the material world, you're either this or you're that. You can't be both, you see. Krishna has this achintya potency, simultaneously one and different. And his kingdom, the spiritual world, has that effect. So we are simultaneously one and different with him. We're made of the same stuff. We're like the drop of salt water that you throw back into the ocean. But yet it's still, you can see the drop. You see? It's like if you look, I was going into Hawaii a few months ago, and I looked out of the plane and I could see the beach. And I thought, that looks like one thing. But when you get down there, you find that it's made up of all these billions of little teeny pieces of something, you see. It looks like all one thing, but it's a whole bunch of little things put together. So there is Krishna, and there is part and parcels, us. We're simultaneously one, simultaneously different, you see. So therefore, this merging is not going to happen. We can merge into the covering of his kingdom, called the Brahmajyoti. It's the light. The Brahmajyoti is the light. It's the effulgence emanating from him and his kingdom, the spiritual world. So we can go there and become a part of that light. But we're still an individual. And we can stay there as long as we want. Situation is, we're not going to want to stay there forever, for eternity. We may stay there so long it may seem like an eternity, but typically the living entity turns around and comes back because it's not fulfilling. Miss Mother, what was your question?
I'm a little confused because in Hinduism, there's a role of karma, and they say that the soul takes several births when these karmas are expiated, and then you can go to God.
But we continue to accumulate karma.
Not if you have been initiated and you have been brought on the spiritual path.
There you go.
So then you stop accumulating karma.
Right.
And if it is your time, if you have done some good, you have accumulated some good karma in some other past births, then you will have the grace of the Lord on
But
you.
it doesn't work quite that way. It's somewhat, and that's common in India. A lot of people think, if I do good, then, but you have to come back to accept the good too.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you have done good in some previous birth.
And that may get...
The Guru leads you to a place where there is no more accumulation of karma.
Right.
And then you have the potential of going back to God.
You're exactly right.
And then
Yeah.
you do not come back.
No, exactly right. What happens is you meet the Guru, you find someone. In other words, the Guru is the teacher. He can show you the path back to Godhead. So you think, oh, I like this. This is what I want to do. I don't want to continue the cycle of birth, death, disease, old age. I want to go back. And I believe that you can teach me through the teachings of Lord Krishna. I think you can give it to me and explain it to me in such a way. So therefore, I accept you as my Guru and my spiritual teacher. When the Guru sees that you're sincere, he takes your karma. Being a Guru is a dirty job. Because you have to accept the karma of all your disciples. So you have the fire yajna, you sit, the initiates sit around the fire and they throw the grains into the fire. Swaha! And their sins are going into the mouth of Vishnu, the Agni-hota. But the Guru has to take a lion's share of that karma. So the Guru has to be strong enough to accept it and digest it. Now, that's another problem. You actually walk away from the fire when you're initiated, when you accept Guru, and you're sinless. It's all done. It's finished. So the problem is that sometimes people are like the elephant. You know, you ever see an elephant take a bath? The elephant goes into the river and he sucks the water up into his trunk and he blows himself, high pressure water, gets himself very clean in the river. Then when he comes out to dry himself off, he throws dirt on himself. You know, I've seen him do that in India. So there's a tendency of the living entity to have some difficulty. Therefore, he needs the guru, his help of the guru, because there may be difficulty even after initiation. So we have to guard against that by following the instructions of the guru. Once you're on the right path, you know, to keep you on the proper path. So you're exactly right. That's the process. Without guru, there's no way. You know, even Lord Jesus Christ spoke that. You know, without me, you're not going to go on to the Father. That's what he told the people around him. Some people feel that meant for everybody forever, everywhere in the world. But no, he told his people, his disciples, and those around him, aspiring for spiritual. He said, look, you guys, basically, he said, you guys can't do it on your own. You're not going to come up under the Father except through me. You see? All right. Okay, one quick question.
Does guru have to be a physical form, or can you have a connection with spirit and like use spirit for your guidance?
Now, you have to have a physical form. If I'm using spirit, I'm going to have a tendency to speculate. And I'm also, if I'm preferring spirit, you know, instead of physical form, then I'm still having this disease of maybe enviousness and not wanting to surrender to Krishna. You know, Krishna says, one who says he is my devotee, he is not my devotee. But one who says he is the devotee of my devotee, he is my devotee. In other words, Krishna, once we leave him, then you have to find a guru to get back. You can appeal to Lord Jesus Christ and he'll deliver you. Or you have to find a guru. Now, if we say, but I have guru in the clouds, you know, the internet thing, they have the cloud. Have guru in the cloud. You see? Or in spirit. How can I ask? How can I get daily instruction? You see? And I'm a personality. I need a personality to relate with. You see? And not only that, I can have a personality. I can have someone that I can share love with. It's all about love. The Guru teaches you how to love Krishna, how to love God, and how to love everybody on a perfect basis. Not on a what's in it for me basis, but on a perfect basis. You know, with love with no strings attached. You know, it's kind of like if you're gonna be a doctor, you go to school. If you go to Harvard Medical School, you're going to be taught by a doctor. You see, if you go to Harvard Law, you're taught by a lawyer. If you take accounting, you're taught by an accountant. You see, there is a personal exchange. Someone that you have faith in teaches you and elevates you. Spiritual life is the same way. You know, I can't become a doctor without going and surrendering to a good doctor, really good, the best doctor I can find, best doctor teacher I can find. Why would spiritual life be any different? I have to find someone that I can communicate with on a personal basis. You see, to help me over my material disease of envy. You see, I need to learn humility. I need to learn how to love. I've forgotten how to love purely. So I need Guru. You know when you found Guru, when you find this loving feeling. If there's cold feeling, then it's not a Guru for you. You see? Some people say, how do I know when I found the right guru? And I say, how do you know when you fall in love?
You know.
You know, it's in your heart. You see, no one has to, there's no process that says, all right, when you fall in love, here's what, you know, first you do this, first you don't know that. You know, it's not planned. You find somebody and you say, wow, I feel love for you. You see, you fall in love. It's just natural. Finding guru is the same thing. Okay, real quick,
Does the
I'm
guru
going to get
know?
chastised.
Does the guru know?
Yeah, he knows. Yeah. Krishna tells him. All right, let's wrap it up and have a loving kirtan. All glories to